Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Culture Hour. My name is Shelley Smith, the founder of Premier Rapport, and of course, the founder and your host and facilitator of the Culture Hour. Today, you guys know, I always say I'm super excited about my guest, and I'm doubly excited today. And if I start talking as if I'm from the UK, you're going to go know why shortly, because I just can't stand it. A fun tip about myself is actually my Waze app. And my phone actually talks to me in a British accent. I think I was supposed to have been born elsewhere. And so it's a little quirky thing that my guest is now hearing about my obsession with that accent. At any rate, today I am excited to tell you that our guest is coming a lot. I don't know where she is today, if she's in the States or if she's in the UK, but regardless, you're going to love her. Her name is Kathryn Camsey, and I'm so excited. I met her recently at an event in New York, and I instantaneously fell in love with her energy and her message and her story. And you're going to have to stay with me a little bit, because when I tell you what her title is, you're going to think maybe I've lost my mind, but I promise you there is some juices and jewels inside of today's conversation about workplace culture and our future workers of tomorrow. So without further ado, I would like to introduce you to Kathryn, and she's going to give you a little bit of her backstory, but she is the creator of the Fairy Club. Well, that's what I said, the Fairy Club. She is your modern day Mary Poppins with a twist and a bag of books and a bag of tricks around fairies, and mental wellness is kind of how I consume it, and the love that she is spreading with our children, our future workers. So, Kathryn,
yes,
tell our viewers a little bit about you.
Okay, well, obviously I'm from the UK. I'm actually in Nashville at the moment.
Okay.
That's my husband's American, so I live between the two. And so basically, I've created like a fairy world, if you like. It's everything to do with fairies and mindfulness and kindness and gratitude, and really just wanted to create a place for children to come and learn all of these skills now. That's why I'm sort of saying it's almost like the modern day Mary Poppins. It's a bag full of tools that they can use for the rest of their life, really helping them set up the foundation for life. That was the most important thing for me. And it sort of came about just because I've been a TV host for many years, many years in the UK, and I just really wanted to do something a little bit more working with children and using all of these skills, and had a fabulous life. Tragedy hit me, and sort of my life spiraled really, and became very sad. And I don't like to say the word depressed, because I think it's, that's such a serious word to use, but I was desperately sad is the only way that I could express how I felt. So I had to go on like this journey to find my happy again. And I'd always been interested in crystals and oils and meditating, and always sort of practiced it sort of, in the background of life, and healthy eating and yoga and so on and so forth. But really, when I ended up in hospital through stress and worry and sadness, just sort of woke up and thought, right, I need to get serious about this now, because I didn't want to turn to medication or any other form of, standard way that people sometimes pull themselves out of these situations. Not that there's anything wrong with that, if that's something that people need. It's everybody's journey is their own.
Yeah.
But for me, it was important to, to do it a different way. So I just delved in. I took, really learned about, took every course. I read every book. I bought hundreds of books, drove my husband insane. I think I kept Amazon books going for a couple of years, because I really wanted to immerse myself in it. I made it my job to be happy. I took it that seriously. So meditation, crystals, essential oils, gratitude journals, affirmations, the flower of life, which I talk about. And I learned all of these different skills, energy, the actual science behind it. And then I started to work with experts in their fields as well, people that really know exactly what they're talking about, because it would be impossible for me to be an expert on each one of those things, because there's so much involved. It's a life's work. Crystals, people that really know them, it's a life's work. Essential oils, if you really speak to a proper aromatherapist, it's a life's work. So I really sort of aligned myself with these people and made it really important to have those relationships and to make sure that they would work with me when I started writing these books. Because if I was delivering all this information to children, I wanted to make sure that the information was really good and really true and really researched. And I also started to work with my daughter with all of these skills as well. So we started to do affirmations together and gratitude together. And, I started to see, she was so positive and happy, and giving her friends little affirmations and telling them about the flower of life and telling them how to, journal their feelings, even if they just doodled it down. Mm-hmm. And then I had friends that also came up to me and started to ask me to do the same with their children. So sort of Fairy Club was born.
Love it.
And in the background, I was sort of writing these books just really as a passion project, really. I sort of wrote all the things down that I loved, and I've always been obsessed with fairies, just as a child, just was. English, we do pixies, fairies, all that sort of thing. It's part of our language. Mm-hmm. And so I wanted to mix it with something, A, that I loved, so that when I was up at 5 o'clock in the morning still writing it, I was still loving it. Yeah. And 2, I wanted to deliver the message in a way that children would understand, make mm-hmm. it fun. It doesn't mm-hmm. have to be all serious. And, they needed to understand how to do it and have the knowledge, but they don't need the science behind it necessarily, or the, this works because of this and this and this. I just wanted to deliver it because children will learn through play.
They will. And they don't muddle it like adults do. Adults muddle it up and overanalyze it and take it off into,
It's got to be perfect, and it's got to be this, and it's got to be that. And, and it doesn't. None of it has to be perfect. Within the books, I talk about 13 different things. I talk about oils and crystals and meditating and all these different things. And my hope is that children, even if they come away and learn one thing really well, mm-hmm. then me doing my job as far as I'm concerned, because what I'm doing is planting the seeds of knowledge for them to then go on and grow. Mm-hmm. And my thought and my belief and my hope behind it is to give them these skills and these tools now before they need them, so that when life hits, which it does. I mean, I had terrible things. I really had a terrible tragedy in my family, but what you learn is, as you get older, everybody has stuff to go through. Yes. We all have sad stuff that we're dealing with, and nobody gets top trumps on sadness. You don't get to go, mine was sadder than yours, and mine was because sad is sad to that person. It might be losing your dog. That might be the saddest thing that ever happened to you, but that might feel as sad as somebody having something horrific. That it's not about that, and I think I've learned that through speaking to people through the tragedy that we went through. So I think I really just want to give those skills to a child now, because when life happens, they got somewhere to go, rather than all these, child suicide, it's higher than it's ever been.
Yes.
70% of mental illness actually starts at childhood, and then it develops as you become an adult, and we even know ourselves, looking at social media, as an adult now, looking at social media, you can't still help but look at it and go, oh, their life looks good.
Yes.
You come away and you think, oh, that was stupid. It's so silly. But, how must that be for a 13-year-old? It's bad enough being 13 and going through all the things that you've got to go through anyway. And now you have no respite from any of that. So, I'm hoping that my book becomes the first book, and there's actually 20, I've got 27 books all together, but the first book I've got, which is called My Mind Full of Happiness Guide, really is a guide to happiness for children. Mm-hmm. There's even a guidebook at the back. If they feel sad, go to this page. If you feel like you need a cuddle, go to this page. If you're worried, go to this page. And there's actual tools that they can either do with their parents or they can do on their own that will help them get through and open up, hopefully, a Pandora's box of information that they will then go and discover.
Oh, I love it on so many levels. The things that when I heard you, when we first met last week, things that resonated with me from a workplace culture standpoint is, number one, the age group that you're working with. And you just talked about it, from the suicide rate to the depression, the actual mental state. In 10 years, our workforce is going to dramatically shift. Where now it's typically from a hierarchy standpoint, there's typically from a generation standpoint, we've got the youth coming in, that is superseding the older generation. Well, what's going to happen is the triangle is going to actually turn into a rectangle of the workforce piece, meaning there's going to be a widening of the older generation in the workforce still longer, and then there's going to be a shrinkage of the younger generation simply by the pure numbers that are coming in. So the impact that we're going to have from those that you are going to be working with and affecting is going to be huge. And hopefully it will shift in a positive way all of the things that are happening inside of workplace cultures now. The uptick in the violence, the uptick in the stress, the uptick in the feeling of capacity. So the more that we are armed as individuals, and certainly our children, I think about, you're going to help them put armor on, but you're going to have them put armor on in a really good way, that there's going to have layers that they can go to, personas that they can go to, resources that they can go to. And the more kids that you can hit, the more of the masses, this becomes the norm. Where, I'll go back 10 years ago, I was working with a gentleman on the wellness side, the physical wellness side, in sort of inside of corporate America, just bringing that in. And now you hear more and more of the mental side of the wellness piece. So again, that goes straight into the heart of what it is that you're going to be working with our future generation of workers within the next, some of them within the next 10 years with who you're working with. And so I think it adds to the conversation. More companies are doing mental breaks, are having a mental day off, are having moments of silence. It's like it's 12 o'clock, everybody does affirmations. I know when I'm doing executive coaching, either one-on-one or with teams, more and more I'm talking about the journaling side that you just brought up. And so, what I can imagine is we're doing this at work now for our age groups. And then imagine coming home and having the children that you have worked with, and you're literally having the same conversations, mom and dad and kids. I just, it brings a moment of positive, that we can all help each other with that. And so I love that. And that's why I wanted you to be on the show today, is for the listeners that are at work now who are feeling the overload can actually use, even if they don't have children, I encourage them to lock onto your books and go back to the guides, because there's things we can do right now, today, to make it applicable and to find our groove and to find our calm and to find our peace and to just keep it real. My husband forever is saying, be gentle, something to paraphrase it, be gentle to those you meet because you never know basically what's going on. And you're so right. A dog's death might be the same as somebody who got a car loss or a job loss, or they just found out they have cancer. Who are we to judge to what we can hold in our capacity?
We're all really so different. I remember reading a study about stress and how stress is the biggest causer of illness. It put me in the hospital, and so many things actually start with stress.
Yes.
And it's all relative. There was this woman that had a breakdown. She worked in an apple factory, and her job was to choose the big apples from the little apples. And it caused her, what was a big apple? What was a little apple? And it seems ridiculous, but that was her level of what she was able to deal with. And it doesn't make it right or wrong. She just needed tools to see that. And somebody else's stress might be running a multi-million pound company or dollar company. It doesn't, this is what my point is about this book and everything, that all the tools in there. It doesn't matter, who you are, what your level of grief is or sadness is or stress is. It doesn't matter. There are no rules for it. It's just tools for everybody. It's really the building blocks for life to stand on and give you a really, really solid foundation. And to build yourself up as best as you can. And when I moved and I came away from my family and I was traveling and all around, and I didn't have my mum round the corner for a cup of tea, or my sister or my friends that I'd had since I was 3, suddenly your support network goes. And suddenly I came from this very good, secure, happy childhood, this bubble of happiness, to then suddenly being on my own. I remember being like 21 and going to the doctors, and the doctor started telling me something. I was like, oh, should I get my mum in?
Wait, let me call her. We can FaceTime.
Really weird. Why are you telling me this? Too much information. We're all different. You got to, and that's why I look to all of these modalities to learn. Suddenly you're on your own, and you've got, the only person that's going to make you happy is you.
That's right.
Everything else is a bonus.
That's right.
You got to look in the mirror and say you love yourself. Doesn't matter what you look like, or we've all had bad days, and we all have, and that really, I hope my book teaches that to children and to adults. And I hope that the adults, whilst reading this with the children, learn as well. I hope they stick, go and stick a sticker on your mirror saying, I love you. It's the hardest thing to do. Look at yourself in the eyes and say, I love you. But it's the best thing if you could do nothing else on day one, do that.
Yes, I love that. I had one of my colleagues, she's the president of the local SHRM chapter, and she did a posting the other day on Facebook. She had taken a day off to maintain herself, to, the mental peace. And she said that it was hard for her, but she said she had done something, and she said, good job. I just didn't, pat myself in the back. And so it turned into multiple posts on Facebook as well as on LinkedIn that you're right. We don't do that. Boy, in a heartbeat, we will criticize ourselves by something we did, how we look, whatever. But when's the last time you actually looked at yourself and said, I love you, or, you just totally rocked, we don't do that for a multitude of reasons. So what are some, putting you on the spot a little bit, I know you have your own go-to like morning routines and different regimens, but for people who are listening, what is maybe 1, 2, 3 top tips that you can say, hey, if you don't, if you're feeling a little sad, if you are feeling the pressures of work and life, if you don't journal, if you haven't, like, what are some easy ways that people won't think that it's too foo-foo, that you find the people that you talk to kind of receive it? Is there any initial start here?
Yeah.
Start here.
Yeah. I mean, my very first day one would be go and have that relationship with yourself and fall in love with yourself and be really grateful and appreciative for everything that you've got. There's always something to be grateful for. Maybe it's health, maybe it's somebody in your life, maybe it's something that you're about to do, something that you've done. I traveled around Australia, and I hardly took any pictures when I was 24, but I've always got it as a memory, and that's always a happy thought. So go and look at your life and find the good, because we always look at the bad.
Yes.
So my first thing would be go and have that relationship with yourself. Go and look at yourself, say, I love you, say, look and replay in your head the good stuff, not the bad stuff. That would be my day 101. Second thing, go away from social media. Give yourself a break from a day or 2 days or whatever it is. Or even if you can't do that, even if you just did it go for a walk for 10 minutes and take your brain on a holiday or a vacation. And give it a break from everything that's surrounding it, because we play, we have thousands and thousands and thousands of thoughts every single day. So you need to give yourself space. And it's amazing if you just go outside and don't look down and look up, just your perspective on life changes. Just, having that look. So you have a look around and you make sure that, you sort of connect back into yourself. And I'll tell you what else it's a really like a healthy aspect, a really simple thing that you can do that always makes me feel better, is when you drink tons of water. Water in your body just makes everything better. I've read a lot of studies about pH 10 water and things like that, and how you can make your body alkaline, because nothing can live in an alkaline body. So if you have like pH 10 water, or even just drink a ton more water, everything works better. You just feel better. And if you feel better on the inside, it makes you feel happier. And the other stuff, I always get up every single day and I even if I'm not going to see anyone, I'll get up and put makeup on, just because it makes me feel better.
Because it's good. Exactly.
It makes me feel good. So yeah.
I love all 3 of those. So, and those are all 3 things that we can do at work and at home, regardless of what our age is. So, the first thing of the love yourself, I like to remind everybody at work, we always have the agenda in the world when that goes on, but at the end of the day, recap, what did I do? Where am I on spot? So I love that. So that can translate into, what did I achieve today and how did I make an impact? And for me and the listeners, it's around, what did I do to impact or reinforce the pillars of the workplace culture today? So in the people around you, because one person can make a difference.
He's driving me nuts.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. It sounds cute. You must be a little.
He's cute but needy.
I have one of those too. Mine's been running up and down and hasn't barked yet, but I'm sure. And then the social break, I absolutely love that. You're right. it's good and it's bad. You feel connected to people from a social that maybe you haven't seen, or certainly the distance piece is there. But wow, in a heartbeat, you can get on pumped up, and then you see something else on there. And I
Yeah.
saw I saw somebody that was actually in our group who had posted, they had gone out to drinks with friends afterwards, and they posted, oh, I just got to have discussion with XYZ in the media piece. And then the person sitting there was like, oh, I just got my patent done today. And instantaneously, her mojo went down, thinking that one superseded the other. And I was like, oh, you should both be celebrating both aspects of that. One is not, any better than the other. So I love that. And then, of course, the water thing. My husband says that everything in life can be fixed by water. So he would totally agree with you. And you would think that he needs to go marketing or get endorsed and get paid for his water,
Yeah, yeah.
But if your toe hurts, go drink some water. I've got a headache, go drink some water. I'm hungry, go drink some water. My side hurts, go drink some water.
Yeah. It just makes everything better, and it makes your skin better. It makes your cells like work better. It really is. I try and get my daughter to drink as much of that as possible. And
No,
it does.
definitely, it's true.
It really makes a big difference.
Yes, absolutely. Well, Kathryn, you've been enjoyed to have on today. How can people, first of all, when do you officially launch, and where can people get your books? What's the best way? Give us the skinny.
Okay, you can go to, I have a web page up now where people can register interest, so they can give me their email address so I can contact them as and when it goes, which is just fairyclub.love.
I love that.
Yeah.
Fairyclub.love. Got it. Okay.
And so they can go on there, and it's going to launch towards the end of August.
Okay.
Just finalising some things now and getting the books all ready, so they can go on and find out about that and all the other, because we've got lots of plans. It's not just going to be a book. We're developing it into, I'm working in the background. My background is kids TV animation, so I'm trying to develop it into a kids TV show. We've got lots of ways of connecting people, teaching kids about empathy, and adults about really the effects of the words on yourself and others. So there'll be lots of things on our online group. We'll be super busy in there as well. So, but yeah, fairyclub.love is the best place.
Well, I already have, we've had the Smurf movies, we've had the Care Bear movies, so I know eventually it's gonna be there, and I can't wait to hear the music. I can not visualize, I can hear some of the songs that would come up on it as well. And you already have a lot of supporters out there as well, and a lot of followers. So I certainly am not going to put you on the spot to name drop. I'll let people get your books so they can see who are some of the characters, some of the fairies that are already there. That are people that they're going to know inside of that. And it's quite a diverse cast of characters that you have as your fairies, which I absolutely adore as well for that. So looking forward to the launch. So I will put the information, if you're watching, you're seeing it come across your screen. If not, if you're listening, you'll see it in the transcription as well. And again, that was fairyclub.love. And Kathryn Camsey, today, you've been wonderful. Viewers, I hope you've loved the twist and you understand on the side of this today, viewers and listeners, that the culture piece is inside of the people, and people is what makes everything in the world go around. And the cash is in the culture, but it starts with the people. And today we have a responsibility as human beings to lift everyone up. And that starts with, like you said, the self-awareness, the personal love. And I know that we can get a hold together. We can get a hold and get the workplace violence on the lockdown. I mean, completely gone. But that definitely takes everybody, and it is everybody's responsibilities as human beings in order to do this. I know that is the expectation, and we all can put a part on that. So thank you again for listening and watching. Thank you again, Kathryn, for being on today. My name is Shelley Smith. I am your culture curator. You can hit me up with any questions, comments, people you want to have on the show, what have you. So until then, stay well, and remember, again, culture matters. Have a great day, everybody.